Okay, in this episode of Ask Mike, I'm going to answer a question that we got from a lady called Linda Mason. Linda, thank you so much for writing in with this question. Linda's question is, what would be your recommended practice schedule for an adult beginner in terms of time and also content? Thanks. Linda, thanks for sending this in. We got quite a few other questions that were similar, that were related to this. So in this video, I'm going to share my 10 best tips for guitar practice, how to get the most out of that time, and how to make progress quickly. Okay, tip number 1 is organize a practice schedule. So almost nobody does this, but the people who do this, they make progress really fast. So the best way to practice guitar is little and often. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day is great. Don't save all of your guitar practice up to the weekend and try and do it in one block, because life gets in the way. And if you miss that one block, all of your practice is gone. We learn by just repetition. So you want to practice little and often. That's the way to go. In terms of the content of what you practice, we want you to hit on the 4 areas of the guitar world. So chords, rhythm, lead, and theory. And we want to make sure that you're intentionally learning in that broad way, because if you don't, you'll become a very one-sided guitarist. So we always want you to be learning new chords. The best way to do that is through learning songs. We always want you to be improving rhythmically, so trying different types of strumming. And we always want you to be developing your lead guitar skills, so scales, soloing, improvisation. And lastly, we want you to understand some theory so you know what's actually happening. So a good way to lay this out is in a kind of matrix, so it's like chords, strumming, lead, and theory. And then you can write in there the things that you want to practice. And I'll share some resources with you later on in the video that will help with this. So practice little and often. Try and do it each day. Have the guitar so it's easily available. Don't put it inside the case. Don't put it inside a bag. Don't put it in some obscure room of the house. A guitar should be part of life. It should be available for you to pick up at a moment's notice. You've got 5 minutes to kill while you're waiting for something else. Oh, cool, I'll pick up the guitar, Don't put barriers between you and the instrument. So practice little and often, but also make sure that you're practicing a broad, curriculum, I guess. You want to make sure that you're learning in a broad way in each of those 4 areas: chords, rhythm, lead, and theory. Tip number 2, set goals. Have a goal. Have a particular song that you want to learn, and then break that down into sub-goals. Learn the chords for this song, learn the structure of the songs, learn the strumming pattern for the song, learn the lyrics for the song if you want to sing it too. Have clear goals and then break them into sub-goals. It makes the world of difference. Tip number 3, use a timer when you're practicing. So this can make sure that you get through the things that you want in your practice time. If you're going to practice for an hour, have a timer, use your phone, whatever, set it for 15 minutes, maybe spend the first 15 minutes on chords, the next 15 minutes on rhythm, the next 15 minutes on lead, the next 15 minutes on theory. That way, in that 1 hour, you're hitting all of the important parts of the guitar world, which again, is going to make sure that you become a balanced guitarist. Tip number 4, have a practice space. Now, ideally, in your house, you've got an area that you can have as your sort of dedicated practice space. And what we want to have there is, your guitar, your tuner, a music stand, a guitar stand, your guitar, maybe an amp with a headphones jack so you can plug in and play electrically without bothering anyone else. Just having a part of the house where you've got all the stuff you need in one place, it makes a lot of difference, because you don't need to be going from one place to the next to get the things. We don't want you to have to assemble all of the things that you need. We want them to all be in one place, ready to go. Tip number 5, practice slowly. Whatever it is that you're doing, do it slowly. And the reason for that is that when you're practicing, you're ingraining muscle memory. And if you go too fast, you make more mistakes and you don't kind of ingrain that memory. This is particularly true with lead work. So scales, single note melody based stuff. Take your time with it, do it slowly, painfully slowly. Use a metronome, set the tempo low, and get it right slowly, and slowly build it up. And what you'll find is you make a lot less mistakes and you remember it. It's there, the muscle memory is right. Practice slowly. Okay, tip number 6, have a practice diary. It's a book that you use, or you could put it on, a tablet or your phone or whatever. But it's somewhere where you put in the things that you've worked on that day and maybe reflect on what worked and what didn't. You can add in there the things that you want to do differently next time. It's just good to have, a couple of minutes at the end of your practice where you intentionally think about it. What worked well? What didn't? Is there something that you need to do differently next time? Note down what you worked on that day. It's quite useful to look back in future months and realise, like, wow, I was struggling with that thing. It's so simple. It's quite satisfying to see the progress that you've made. An extra bonus tip here would be, when you're learning a piece, record yourself playing it quite early on. And then if you watch that a week later after you've practiced it each day, you'll be amazed at how much better you can play it. And our students find that a really motivating thing to do, because you can see and hear the progress that you're making. And if you can't see and hear that, and we often don't, because we make small incremental progress each day, then yeah, it's just really motivating. So give that one a try. Tip number 7, practice your favourite songs. So don't learn music that you think will impress someone else. Don't learn boring stuff that, a guitar teacher gives you or that you learn online. Practice music that you love, that moves you, that excites you. And you'll find that you look forward to practicing. And also, because you know the songs quite well, it makes practice easier. It's really important that you learn songs that you really, really love and feel passionately about. Tip number 8, use backing tracks. One of the best ways to practice lead guitar, scales, solos, improvisation, it's to play over a backing track. So if you want to learn the A minor pentatonic scale, just Google A minor pentatonic backing track, and there'll be loads of different options that come up there on YouTube and elsewhere, and you're playing over music. If you're just playing scales, it's a really dry and robotic way to learn, just doing the scales up and down. It's boring, and also you won't develop a sense of musicality. If you're playing over real music, then you're becoming a real guitarist. Use backing tracks. Tip number 9, practice when you're not at the guitar. So when you don't have the guitar, you can still practice. It sounds a bit weird, this, but I know that's helped some of our students a lot in the past. It's that, if you're sat on the tube or the bus or you're on your way to work or whatever, you can think about certain chord progressions, you can think about chord shapes, you can picture where your fingers might need to go for a certain scale. You can listen to a piece of music that you're trying to learn and pick up on the subtleties of it, the rhythms of it. This is really useful for lead guitar practice, but also just for chordal things, chord progressions, understanding, how a piece of music sounds when it moves from a G to an E minor, whatever the case may be. You can do a lot of guitar practice without actually having the guitar in your hands. And the last tip here is make a hit list of 3 songs that you love from artists that you love. So pick 3 artists that you really like, pick 1 song from each of them, and have them as your kind of 3 tracks that you're going to do for the next month. It's something really clear and defined that you can do straight away, which will be fun to do and will improve you as a guitarist. I hope you've enjoyed these 10 tips. Okay, thanks again to Linda for sending in this question and giving us the opportunity to share these tips with you. If you'd like to get a sort of cheat sheet that includes all of our best practice tips, the kind of 10 tips that will help you get the most out of your practice time and learn guitar at light speed, head over to our website, nationalguitaracademy.com/YT26, or just click the link in the video description now and you'll get that free download.